Hello everyone and welcome back to round 3 of our Formula 1 World Championship here with Ford. Last week we got 4th place in Jeddah, absolute massive race for the team and for us personally, as definitely better than anything I expected here early to start the year. I do recommend you go check that video out if you did miss it. As for this week, we are in Australia, another track that I'm strong at, so hopefully we can sneak away with some points. As for our activities, I am going to be focused on helping the team as much as we can. So we're going to go ahead and add this sponsor event, plus the sponsor advertisement, and we'll do the power team building. So everything just focused on helping the team get as much money and as much acclaim as we possibly can. As for the R&D, we do have 1,400 points available, which I am going to invest into our aerodynamics. They're honestly terrible to start the season. We're last by a pretty big margin, and any extra downforce, obviously, in this ground effect era is going to be absolutely massive. We don't have anything, any upgrade we can use this 600 points for, so we're just going to save them for next weekend. Now we're going to jump into our corporate sponsors. We do have another sponsor slot available, which again is going to be huge for just adding income to the team. As far as sponsors go, OPAC offers us the most weekly income, not the highest goal bonus, but income is the most important thing at the end of the day. But it's achieve a top 10 finish, score 3 constructors, achieve a top 12 finish. I'm gonna go with Salve. A top 12 finish seems a lot more achievable, and the goal bonus of a top 10 is going to be a lot harder. I think top 12, obviously it's a little bit less money, but I think we'll be able to consistently reach a top 12 more often. That concludes all the setup for the race weekend. Now we're going to sim to the Australian Grand Prix. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. It doesn't look like we have any upgrades coming on before the Australian Grand Prix, so it's just all the events. So let's hop on into practice here.
A very warm welcome to Melbourne, the city that boasts 4 seasons in one day. Let's get this show on the road and let's see who'll be top of the timesheets down under.
Right, here we are for the first lap of the race weekend, starting our track acclimation program. I want to start the weekend off on a good note here, and obviously we need every single resource point we can get here, as we do have the worst car on the grid. We wouldn't know it by our finish last weekend, but yeah, our car is actually terrible, as we can barely get it stopped there to make it into that corner gate. Not much grip here on the hard tire. Obviously the track's still very green too, first laps of the race weekend. Car feels pretty decent though. This will be a good indicator though of how our straight line speed is at this track. With how many straightaways this track has, comparatively. I mean, Jeddah was a pretty good indicator as well, but a lot more, I feel like the DRS at Jeddah allows you to just really stay behind people. Similar here in Australia too, so I guess if we use Jeddah as an indicator, we should have decent pace here. As this may be our first purple score of the race weekend if we can keep it neat and tidy. Almost missed that corner gate there, but I just managed to get enough rotation to make it, and that is just barely our first purple score of the race weekend. Here we are for our race strategy practice program. Like usual, I'm going to use no overtake and no DRS just to get an accurate representation of our pace for the race. Yeah, like I was saying before, we should have pretty strong pace this weekend. I can already feel a massive grip difference on the mediums compared to the hards. Hard tires just never have the grip you would like. Obviously the hardest compound and longest lasting, but straight up performance would always go to the softer compounds, as we're just barely up on the delta here, 1/10 up, and it's climbing on the straightaway, so if that's any indication, our straight line speed seems pretty good. 5/10 up on the delta here. Few more corners to go. Last really hard braking zone of the track. Still 6/10 up. Carry the speed through these last few fast corners. 5/10 up on the delta. We know we're quick through this final corner. And this looks like it's going to be our second purple score of the weekend. And Australia is starting out smooth. Here we are for our qualifying pace practice program. And our true test of our pace for the race weekend. Obviously, this track has a lot of DRS zones, so qualifying position won't be the most important thing. But, yeah, it always helps to get a good starting position. The softs just have so much grip compared to the mediums or the hards. As we're 4/10 up on the delta here in the purple range. Gotta stay committed through the high-speed chicane right here. Sling it through, carry as much speed as we can. Almost invalidated right there. But luckily we didn't. This is the hardest braking zone on the track. Managed to get it stopped. Use up all the curb we can. Fling it into this high-speed corner. Oh man, so much understeer right there for some reason. Not sure if I caught the dirty air from the cars ahead or what, but ton of understeer in that corner, as now we're only 4/10 up on the delta, but I think we still managed to get our final purple score of the weekend.
There's some decent data, although far from optimal, and it could still be worth running it again.
Well, it said it was in the purple range, but apparently it was only a green score, so I'm going to need to run it one more time. And then this quick corner right here, a lot of time when we had that snap understeer, and we invalidate. Feeling a ton of understeer in that corner this morning, as I'm just going to stick with our green score, and now we're going to head on into qualifying.
And a warm welcome, everybody. We're here in the heart of Melbourne. It's Albert Park, and it's qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
Here we are for our first lap in qualifying. We showed in Jeddah if we get a good qualifying result, it really carries over to the race, especially at these tracks like Australia and Jeddah, where there's 4 DRS zones. And you can really just stay with the cars ahead as long as you're in their DRS. Been a pretty terrible lap so far, as Gasly goes fastest with an 18.4. So, as the car just has so much understeer, we go wide. And, yeah, just can't keep the car on the track. Definitely have to go out for a second run, and hopefully it'll be a lot better than that. Well, we've thrown on a new set of the soft tires. Gonna look to have a lot better run than we did the first time, obviously. So that first corner wasn't too bad. Just gotta keep the momentum going here and hopefully have a solid run. Nice, we managed to keep it committed through the chicane, but we invalidated. Of course, as I guess this lap will just have to be a banker. We'll need to use our third set of softs, so we go wide there too. This car just has so much understeer for some reason. Oh! And then that curb almost takes us out. As this went from a pretty decent lap to, by the end of it, an absolutely terrible one. Let's see what it's going to be across the line. Obviously it doesn't matter because it's invalidated, but it's still only a 19.2, and we need to pick up a ton of time. Alright, with no time on the board here, just 52 seconds left, we're going to need to hang it all on the line here and make this lap count. Already a 10th down on our previous lap, but we know there's a lot of time to be found later in the lap. Not a great corner for us there. So send it a little too deep. Already equal to the delta though. Want to stay committed through there. Oh, beautiful corner. So we managed to keep it in 6th and carry all the momentum. A 10th up on the delta here. Open the DRS as soon as we can. We just got to stay committed through the chicane and not go wide like we did last time. So we get a better line through that corner there. Open the DRS, and now the time will just start to come to us. As we also had a terrible hard braking zone here. I went a little wide there, just missed the apex, and we invalidate again. No. So that's going to be P22 on the grid for us. As an absolute stinker here in qualifying. I'm going to bring it across the line just to see what it could have been. As it's an 18.595. I wonder if that would have been enough to put us into Q2. Looking at the times here, it still would not have been enough to put us into Q2. We would have been ahead of our teammate and Yuki Tsunoda, but yeah, it looks like the car does not have much pace this weekend here in Australia, as Kevin Magnussen, Logan Sargent, Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, and then the 2 Fords are all out in Q1. Now let's head on into the race and hopefully make some positions up here in Australia.
Well, once upon a time, this used to be the season opener before it fell victim to a pandemic reshuffling. But now Albert Park is back at the heart of the F1 calendar, so welcome to sun-kissed Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Sainz, Leclerc, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Gasly, Ricciardo, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Joe, Magnussen, Sargent, Ocon, Tsunoda, Vesti, Thomas, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. So I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about this afternoon, and who's going to talk about it with us? None other than Naomi Schiff. Hi, Naomi. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Well, here we are on the grid in Melbourne, Australia. Going to look to rebound after a poor qualifying performance and hopefully have a strong start to the race here, and we can salvage something of this weekend. As for our strategy, they are recommending we go with the 1 stop. They're saying the 2 stop is 6 seconds slower. So we do 13 laps on a set of mediums and then bolts on a set of the hards and take them the rest of the way. I think that strategy is pretty good. I may pit a lap or 2 earlier, depending on if we're in a gigantic DRS train or not, just to undercut some of the guys ahead. I know how crazy the DRS trains can be here at Australia with the double DRS zones and 4 zones. DRS is super powerful, and a lot of trains will be prevalent. So let's hop on into the formation lap and start the race.
Here we go then. The formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
Every driver on the grid electing to start on the medium compound tire, as Lando Norris is going to start from pole position here and look to grab his 2nd win in a row.
So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. But the question I'm asking is which teams have got it right and which ones have got it horribly wrong?
We're starting from 21st position on the grid in our Ford EcoBoost Hybrid. The only driver we're starting ahead of is Alexander Albon, who did elect to take a grid penalty and throw some new components in the back of that Williams. A little early in the year to do it, but I'm sure after his poor qualifying performance, they thought it was better now than when they threw some upgrades on the car later in the year, and he probably would have a better qualifying performance. So here we are as all the drivers are pulling up to their grid spots. Now we are under those 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go here in Melbourne, Australia. As we get a pretty good launch off the line there. Zhou Guanyu struggles to get away. As Tsunoda's going to look to his outside. We're going to go to the outside of both of them. And we're able to make it stick. Already up to P18 for us and up 3 positions. Unfortunately, there's really nowhere for us to go into this next corner, as it looks like there are 2 side-by-side 3 lanes in a row. as everyone is just crawling through these corners here. Logan Sargent gets out of the gas there. Want to make sure not to run into our fellow American driver. I want to try to get by Logan as fast as we can. We know he isn't necessarily the quickest on the grid, and I don't want him holding me up. So we're going to look around his outside here. Just sticking our nose in. He's got to give us some space. We give him space on the inside, but we're going to have the preferred
Okay,
line
the start was fine. Let's try and move forward.
on the exit of the corner, and we're able to make it stick here. Esteban Ocon is next in line. Gonna dive to his inside here. Make sure we give him the space there on the outside. Oh yeah, we cleared him before even the final corner. Now we're up to P16, 5 positions gained in 1 lap. Ocon and Sargent were battling side by side there, and that was really allowed us to pull a gap on them and break their DRS, which definitely not what those back few drivers wanted to see, but hopefully we can pull away from him here and actually create a buffer for me. Well, we managed to pull out a 1.5 second gap on the guys behind. Charge our battery back up to 70%, so we're in a pretty good position here. Now we gotta make our way up past these next few drivers. As I was kind of worried we were gonna get our first warning in the Grand Prix there. It looked like we went a little wide, but luckily no warning. So we're gonna use a lot of our battery here to go to the outside of Valtteri Bottas. He's gonna squeeze us, almost run us into the wall there.
Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place.
As luckily we have no damage. And now both the Haas's are going to be side by side here into the hardest braking zone of the track. We almost run into the back of Nico Hülkenberg there, but we're just able to go to the inside of him. I almost was thinking about diving to his inside, but he braked pretty late there into that corner. As hopefully Magnussen now can run the guys ahead down. Oh, I went to go to the outside of Hülkenberg, but he went to the inside of his teammate. He used his teammate to box me in there. That was quite smart of Hülkenberg, honestly. As now he's going to look to go to the outside of his teammate here and make a move. Oh, we're going to go to the outside of Magnussen as well, but he's going to shut the door. And we're not able to make it stick, as honestly the Haas's are just holding us up here. They keep swapping, and they're not really making any inroads on the cars ahead, so this is putting a damper on our chances of getting any higher than P13. Now Magnussen's going to look to go by his teammate again here. The question is, I think we'll be able to make a move as well this time. Hülkenberg's going to have no DRS to defend. We're going to use the battery. Dive to his inside here. He's going to go a little defensive. He has to leave us room, though, and we're able to make the move stick. We don't leave him much room because the Haas's have honestly been cutting me off for the past 3 laps and holding me up. So I'm fed up and out of patience. Yellow flags, yellow flags. Not quite sure for what yet. No safety cars, so I think someone broke down. As Charles Leclerc is out of the session here. As you see the Scarlet Ferrari pulled over to the side there. His day is done here. Not even halfway through the Australian Grand Prix. As that bumps us up to P13 now. We're going to dive to the inside of Kevin Magnussen here. We're able to make it stick. Open the DRS, turn on the battery. Brake as late as we can into that corner. A little too late, honestly. Sent it a little wide. Oh, what a snap. Out on the throttle, just a little too hard on the exit of that corner, and that's going to allow Kevin Magnussen to just drive right by us again with the DRS. Not what we wanted at all. As I just don't think there's any chance we run down Daniel Ricciardo here. I think at the end of the day, we may be fighting for a P12 unless something else happens. We'll have to see after the pit strategy, though. Gonna look to make one more move here on Kevin Magnussen. We have the DRS.
Brilliant. Nice move. Keep going.
No DRS for Magnussen. Is he still somehow keeping up with us down that straightaway? So that makes zero sense as we outbrake ourselves again going into that corner, as we're just not used to carrying that much overspeed. As Carlos Sainz is already in the pits here, throwing on a set of the hards. I'm guessing the Spaniard is going for the two-stop. Kevin Magnussen. I tried to give him the space and he just sent it up my inside, and he was having no part in going side by side through that corner. He wanted to finish the move off right then and right now. We've charged our battery up to a really strong percentage here. Every time I pass Magnussen, I just get passed back. And there's no way for me to really run down Daniel Ricciardo here. Yeah, the DRS is just too powerful at this track. I have no chance to really stay past Magnussen.
And gap to the car in front, 6.3 seconds.
We're going to try it one more time as we go ahead and get a warning there. I think that was our first warning of the Grand Prix. So I can't quite remember if I got one before, as we go a little wide in there again. We've been struggling in that corner. We're going to do everything we can to run down Daniel here. Not sure if we're going to have what it takes, though, as the medium tires seem shot. We may be, at the end of the day, fighting for P11 or P12. I'm not quite sure what Carlos Sainz's strategy is. We're P11 currently, but Sainz is already pitted, so I'm not sure if he's trying to one-stop from this point. And if so, we may be net P12. As I think I'm going to get passed by Kevin Magnussen here again. So he's going to go to our outside. He's going to back out as he almost just...
Okay, we lost the position. Trying to keep focus.
Almost just takes us out there. Kevin Magnussen's, when he's sweeping around the outside, makes contact with us and then brakes suddenly in the middle of the chicane right in front of us. I think that was a mission for him to take us out so that his teammate could gain one more position as well. But luckily he did not succeed. But we're boxing this lap, so we are going to want to make our way back by Kevin Magnussen here. Our car just goes so wide. We had no grip through that corner. That's going to make it tough to get close enough to actually make the move on Magnussen. We still will have 2 DRS zones, so I think it'll be possible. As Ricciardo's pulled the gap up to 6.5 seconds, almost 7 seconds on us. So I think 10th place is absolutely unachievable here.
In this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach.
Unless there's another DNF like Charles Leclerc had. If so, then maybe we have a shot, as we're going to go side by side here with the Haas. We give him the space. We're not quite able to get the run through the corner, as he's going to make it stick. He is just braking in the weirdest spots. Magnussen, I feel like, is an absolute hazard on the track, as we're both pulling in here to the pits. And we just managed to get it stopped and avoid a speeding penalty. As I don't even want to say it, because I don't want to jinx it, but I'm gonna. Hopefully we have no issues.
Problem attaching the left rear wheel. We need to try and put that behind us, though, and let's finish this race strong.
Amazing. Absolute amazing.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
As Magnussen must have had an issue as well, because he comes out even farther behind me after I had a 5-second pit stop. Definitely not what Magnussen wanted. As we lose a bunch of positions in the DRS train. And these hards have absolutely zero grip, as they're not warmed up. Not quite sure how the hards feel like they have less grip than the mediums I just was using for 14 laps. But they somehow do. Now we can see where we're going to come out. Final position in the DRS train here. We're back ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, but we did lose positions on Bottas and Ocon, as Bottas gets held up massively by Ocon there. We're going to get the DRS. Bottas doesn't have any. We're going to use some battery. We're going to dive around his outside here. Make sure we give him the space. Side by side through the corners, and we make it stick. Back up to P13 for us. Question is, did we grab Ocon's DRS? We just got it. Nice. Absolutely massive. As Ricardo is now 8.4 seconds ahead, he spaced out the gap even more, which is to be expected after that really long pit stop. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're fighting for a P12 here. Even though we're not fighting for a points-paying position, I'll still be really happy with the outcome of this weekend, as we're able to gain so far...
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
We're able to gain so far 8 positions up from our starting spot, which is absolutely massive. After the pace we were showing early in the weekend, I did not think even challenging for a 13th would be possible. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take where we're at. Kinda stinks we're not challenging for at least 1 point, especially after how good we...
Okay, so all of our tyre pressure data is currently reading 0. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
Well, the faulty sensor is happening again, as we definitely need to get this iron out as a team. I can't remember if it was Jeddah or Bahrain, but I know we had a faulty sensor in another one of our races. And yeah, we obviously want the team to have as much data as they possibly can.
We're catching the car ahead, well done, but be aware these tyres need to get us to the end of this race.
I'm going to make a move on Ocon here. Open the DRS. Grab the slipstream. I'm going to set up this good exit here. Do it into this hard braking zone. Oh yeah. Amazing exit by us. Grab the slipstream, open the DRS, go to his outside. Brake as late as we can. We gotta make sure we give him space. We're able to complete
Good job, nice overtake.
the move, as even Mark is thrilled with that. Now the question is, can we hold him off, and can we start to run down Ricardo and Gasly?
Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 10.2 seconds. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 20.0 seconds.
As we grab our second warning of the Grand Prix there. Pushed a little too wide, and that might cost us dearly, as we got to be extra careful now. Haven't really been able to eat into Ricardo's gap or space on the AI, and I've been using my battery. Just the DRS is just too powerful here, as it's hard to catch the guys ahead because they're all in a DRS train and have DRS every single lap, as Carlos Sainz in the pits once again.
And Sainz is stopping now.
He is going for that two-stop strategy. The question is will we come out ahead of the Ferrari driver? And we will. Beautiful. So he's going to have to make his way through the field. And if he does pass everyone and get past us, we may be able to have him suck us along to the guys ahead. Not sure if there'll be enough time for that, though, as I think the two-stop was a typical Ferrari strategy and a real blunder on Carlos Sainz's side.
Okay, Frederick's in the pits. Frederick in the pits.
Our teammate is in the pits as well, as I guess Frederick decided to go for a two-stop as well, and that is... I think the two-stop was a terrible call, and that is really going to cost him, as Valtteri Bottas is literally right on the back of our rear diffuser right here. Spaced out a half a second gap through the chicane right there. We really nailed it. Carlos Sainz has reached the rear of this DRS train. Now the question is, will he be able to make his way through, or will everyone having DRS really hinder his ability to make passes and slice his way back through the field? As Valtteri Bottas is going to look to our outside here. We're going to go to the inside, try to leave him space. He backs out though. Not quite brave enough from Valtteri there, as now Ocon's going to look to go on the offensive. They're going to go side by side down the straightaway. They will both have the DRS though, so it's going to be a drag race into the corner as they're still side by side, and Esteban Ocon is able to come out ahead there of Valtteri Bottas. Esteban Ocon has the DRS here. Don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move this time though, as we're able to just run on normal line, don't even have to go defensive. As there is 9 cars in this DRS train right behind us. So I have to be super careful to not get that third warning, because a 3-second penalty could drop me all the way from P11 to maybe P16, P17, depending on how close the field is bunched up. As Ocon's going to get a run here, go to our outside. He has the DRS. He's going to make his move stick, unlike Botas was able to. And they'll have the DRS here to really finalize the move. As I'm not going to fight him too hard. I know there's still a long way to go, and as long as I'm in his DRS, I'm in a chance to pass him again, as we're not really fighting for P10, unfortunately, right now. Our greatest hope for a point is that one of the guys ahead either wrecks and a safety car comes out, or blows an engine and has some more reliability issues. As I've just remembered, terrible, terrible weekend for Ferrari, as they absolutely mess up Carlos Sainz's strategy and ruin his race. And Charles Leclerc blew his engine on, I believe, lap 8. So Ferrari is actually in a position where they may score 0 points this week in Australia. And we sweep around the outside of Esteban Ocon here. We're going to look to do what he did to us. And we go right around his outside, make it stick, and we will have
Great maneuver. You made it look so easy.
the DRS to finalize the move, just like he did. Break into the corner. Oh, we go wide. As we are struggling in that braking zone at certain points, as we just aren't able to get the car stopped. Oh, gigantic snap from us.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
As now we're side by side here with Esteban Ocon. Going to tuck in, look for his slipstream as he's going to box in Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri Bottas going to look to go to the outside of Esteban Ocon here. They bunch everyone up. We're not going to have the DRS here. We did just lose 3 positions in one straightaway. We're going to use our battery. Dive to the inside of Ocon. Can we make it stick here? As we got to back out. We're not quite able to make it stick on the Frenchman. Now we got to look to set him up with these DRS zones. Almost went a little wide there and got our 3rd warning of the day, which would have been disastrous. I got to be extra careful to not do that, as we're going to go to the inside. He almost touches wheels with us right there. Scared me quite a bit. As now we're right up to the back of Valtteri here. Can we make the move on Valtteri as well? I think I'm just going to stay behind him, shut off my ERS mode, and charge my battery. I think that is the smarter decision, as Valtteri locks up and really parks it on the apex there. More yellow flags here. As is that another mechanical failure of someone up ahead? I can only hope. They haven't said what happened yet. Maybe it was just an incident on track, because they haven't said anyone's retired. As we're going to go to the outside of Valtteri Bottas here. Make sure we don't run it wide. We brake at an appropriate time as... Oh!
Some information on Magnussen for you. They're retiring from the race.
We got a massive snap. Oh! As we get ran off the track by Esteban Ocon there. Come on, Ocon. That was some dirty driving. As there was another retirement, but unfortunately it was behind us, as Kevin Magnussen is out of the race. And...
I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
No, we just get a time penalty there. As we weren't challenging for points anyway, but that is going to hinder our great race here late in the day. Now we don't have to worry about grabbing a 3rd warning, though. We can be a little bit more aggressive on the curbs. As there's Kevin Magnussen parked on the outside. Or inside wall, I should say. As we're going to go offensive here on Ocon. Now on Bottas. Around his outside, and we're able to make the move stick. As now I can really be aggressive, attack the curbs, because I already have the 3-second penalty, so there is no point to try to be safe. As we need to try to pull a gap on the guys behind us. So we can potentially... maybe hold on to P13, P14. Don't drop so far back on the grid. As I knew, with the DRS trains here in Australia, a 3-second penalty is an absolute shot in the foot. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to lose these guys. We get another warning there, but like I said, we don't really care. We're hanging it all on the line here as we want to try to space as much of a gap as we can in these last couple laps, as Valtteri Bottas is going to an absolute
Okay,
massive
here's the
run.
gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 16.9 seconds.
The DRS trains in this game are actually absolutely sickening. It's so sad. Really does ruin some great racing, as it shouldn't be like this. There shouldn't just be massive trains where we can't break away. The dirty air needs to be stronger on the AI, and even on the player itself, as you shouldn't be able to follow 5 feet behind someone's rear diffuser through a corner. That's our 5th warning of the Grand Prix, as one more warning and we will have a 6-second penalty, so now I do need to be a little careful. I'm trying to gap them, but I mean, look at it, they just close. Any gap I form, it just gets closed right on the straights. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Valtteri's
Okay, you
right
just
here.
started the final lap of the
We're going to go
race. Final
defensive.
lap.
I have to pull as much of a gap as I can to hopefully not lose as many positions. As Lando Norris wins his 2nd race in a row here in Australia at his teammate's hometown. I'm sure his teammate would have loved to
Okay,
get the
gap
win.
to the car ahead. 17.1 seconds.
But it's the British McLaren driver who gets his 2nd win in a row and is putting his stamp on actually getting his first driver championship and challenging Max Verstappen here early in the year. As we're going to come across the line in P11, but we're not going to finish there, as it is going to drop us down because of our 3-second penalty. We weren't able to pull a gap at all, as they are still just 6 tenths behind us, 5 tenths, and gaining on the straights. And we end up P16.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Still up 5 positions from our qualifying spot, but we could have got P11, and that 3-second penalty really hurt us. Somehow we still got driver of the day. Definitely did not deserve it, but we'll take it.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has landoed. It's Lando Norris for victory.
Well, that's 2 race wins in a row for them. I think they'll be really happy with that. I mean, 1 race win is great, but to have 2, you know that you've got it. You're a little bit more comfortable in your skin. This is a great sign of maybe what's to come next.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving that they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
Well, 2 Brits on the podium with Max Verstappen. Lando Norris, 2nd win of the season here early. 2 out of 3 race wins, and he's looking to grab his first world championship. Obviously, still a long way to go in the season, and he's going to have to maintain this momentum and stay consistent, especially against a great driver like Max Verstappen in that strong Red Bull. But he has the car to do it. So, yeah, Lando has to dig deep if he really wants to get his first championship.
Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Lando does not get the Grand Slam, though, as Max Verstappen steals fastest lap of the race by about half a tenth, as Lewis Hamilton rounds out the podium with Oscar Piastri just missing out on a podium at his home race, finishing in P4. Daniel Ricciardo did manage to grab 1 point, though, at his home race. I'm sure he's thrilled about that. As, yeah, oh man, Carlos Sainz down in 14th spot. And Charles Leclerc all the way in 22nd after his DNF. Ferrari with an absolute disaster class here. And we did manage to beat our teammate who did finish a lap down. So, yeah, Vesti has not been impressive through these first 3 races. He did manage to out-qualify us only because we invalidated our lap, though. So if he does not pick it up, we are going to be looking elsewhere, as Max Verstappen is only down 2 points in the Drivers' Championship after Lando Norris getting 2 wins. And yeah, it's looking like a 2-horse race here early, but obviously still early in the year, and a lot of things can happen. As for the constructors, McLaren has a 10-point lead. Perez is going to need to be strong if they want any chance to win it, as McLaren has 2 really good drivers and a really fast car. So yeah, next week we'll be in Japan at Suzuka. Thank you to everyone who watched. Please like and subscribe, and you guys have a great day.